Womenta, I'm trying, I'm learning. I'm trying to gel with this environment. Anyway, good morning everyone. My name is Shashank Kallole. I'm working as a service delivery manager with Sogeti. I'm working with Sogeti from last 12 years, overall experience with 15 plus 6 years right now. Specialize in setting a test factory as well as setting the test automation factory for special in that area, as well as to give the guidance on how to set up the DevOps methodology, which will help the business to improve on that part. Today I'm going to present the very interesting topic, how we can continuously integrate or do the integration, regression testing specifically for the SAP and using the automation tool. Yeah, I know there are many customers who have already started with the automations right now at the moment, and they are using multiple tools. But how we can do the continuous integration testing over there? What is the need of continuous SAP continuous testing, automation testing, specifically, and what we need a approach for, how the approach need to be designed when we are doing the continuous integration testing with the help of automation. As you know, SAP is not a very simple web-based application. As you all are from the SAP background, I think you know much better than me what is the SAP part. But SAP is a very complex multi-module system which are having multiple modules which inside the SAP application as well as the outside. They are integrated with multiple environments, integrated with cloud-based solution, legacy applications, and so on. But still, how we can make sure that our automation is particularly adjusted with in such an environment, and what should be our approach to the testing over there. This picture, I think whoever has attended previous SAP, specifically SAP testing guidance specifically from Sogeti side, they have already seen. But this is the very good example of how the SAP testing approach need to be designed. There are very clear 3 steps defined in Sogeti TMAP methodology, how the approach need to be taken. 3 phase or 3-stage approach, I will say for that. First stage is definitely to understand the business, to understand the requirement, how the requirements are coming, where it is coming from. That is what the first stage. And to do the assessment of those requirements. Those requirements will be continuously assessed and identify which modules are there. As in the previous presentation, Wout and Rohit mentioned, they are also using the same methodology where they are considering the requirement based on the modular base, where we have to first of all understand the requirement and bifurcate that requirement in module wise, whether it is from C to C or F to F and so on. There are multiple requirements which can be distributed in such first phase. In second phase, it's specification, or in terms of, I will talk about the testing language or automation language, the scripting phase, where we have to script those modules based on the requirement. What is the critical module which are going to be used in future? We have to think over there, what is the requirement, where we are going to use, when we are going to use that. That we have to think in this approach. And based on that, we have to start scripting. And in the execution, you can see that. In execution, we have to loop those and make sure that those modules are utilized, but not repeatedly utilized. It should be utilized and cover most of the requirements which are very much useful for the the execution part. Once the first phase of execution is done, the most challenging part, this is what This is specialized, I will say it's a specialized from the Sogeti, where we have defined that how we can utilize those test cases which are created in the system integration testing phase, which we can use in the regression part, where we can connect those test cases and do the entire regression, end-to-end regression, which will help us to reduce the timestamp, as well as it will reduce the rework, and it will give the benefit, cost saving. The most important part, it's a cost saving, where we don't need to invest too much time on doing that. This is very, at least from a layman perspective, it's a very complex scenario where, or the complex approach, but you don't have to worry about that. Our Sogeti testing team, or most of the Sogeti who are very much aware of this, are expert in understanding how the approach can be designed, what kind of metrics need to be used, how to set up such approach in the SAP environment. But whether this approach will solve your question? No. There will be definitely practical challenges, which at least I feel. And based on my experience, even though this approach is kind of framework is just to guide you how the testing can be done. But there are multiple loops in that framework where we need to fill that gaps, where there are practical challenges, because each customer is a unique customer. It's not all the customers are same. There are more than different ways how to do that. And there are more challenges in terms of per customers, if you see. But I have just identified few challenges. At least from my point of view, these are the basic 6 challenges which each and every customer, I will not say each and every, but at least maximum number of customers will feel. The first most challenge, insufficient document. It's a reality right now, where everywhere, every customer, I will not point out on the customer point, but there is no detailed documentation available on the requirement. How you will solve that? How you will do the automation testing with it? Configuration owner, I have used the terminology. It's a kind of SMEs, SAP SMEs, or service owner specifically. Unavailability, even though the insufficient documents are there, who will help us? Business will help us. But if the business has that much time to help us to identify the scenarios, do they have? Are they really available for the testing? How we can tackle that challenge? The third challenge, high volume of test data. There are a lot of test data which need to be generated for the automation testing. How we can solve that part? Because just using one end-to-end flow with one test data will not survive. Because when we are saying the automation need to be done, it need to be connected with each other. And the data should be provided continuously for the testing. Because just taking one example, creating simple order, the order can be having n number of times. I think 7 type of orders in SAP. So for 7 types, we need a 7 type of test data to be identified and to be tested. For that, how and who will provide the test data? The fourth challenge, minimum manual workload while test execution. I have seen multiple customers where they are using automation, but while doing the execution, still the resource is sitting over there and doing the execution. Even though the resource has to start the execution, monitor it, sit with the in front of the system, and find out what's happening in the when they are doing the execution, find out what is the results on that. This is one of the biggest challenge, at least at the moment I have seen. The fifth, most important, how we will set up the environment, because today is an agile world. There are a number of things coming, pushing from on the cloud end. Most probably most of the customers are using SAP HANA. In that scenario, HANA is, or SAP is providing some, every month or now and then they are sending new patches. And top of that, cloud is sending their own patches. How we will set up the environment? Which tool you will use that? How we will face this challenge, or how to solve that challenge? Then the most interesting part, even though we set up the entire automation stuff, we know how to do the automation, but how we will reduce the cost while doing the continuous service? We need to execute all the automation script now and then, whenever required, based on demand, based on if we are doing every day or whatever. How these are the at least few challenges which I see at the moment, and whether we, with the help of the approach, we are able to answer that. Absolutely not. The approach will guide us how to bifurcate, or how to give the guidance to the automation team, how they have to define the automation, how to do the scripting, how to do the execution. But these are the practical challenges which I have seen. Here, one example I would like to showcase, and how we have solved these kind of challenges which I have shown. With this approach, at least first four challenges, we are able to solve that. If you see, we are using setup to resolve such challenges includes Worksoft Certify, Worksoft Execution Manager as an automation tool, and automation execution running tool, and Jira as a test management tool over here. And if you see, to solve those problems, we have identified Sogeti has identified such an approach where not only automation team will be involved, but the SME who will be part of the automation team, who has a good knowledge on SAP part, he will be also part of the automation part. And there will be a configuration owner or a service owner from the business side, or the process SME from the business part. So how I will go through the entire process, but how we are going to resolve those first four challenges. The first step will be, if there is insufficient documents, as I mentioned in my challenges part, how we will do that? We don't have to go and sit next to the configuration owners and understand the business. We have identified one thing with the help of Worksoft Certify. Worksoft Certify give you the idea where you can ask the business owner or the configuration owner to run the script, or to run their own process, which will help them to identify, or they are expert, they know that what are the steps need to be done in the SAP. They will run this, or they will execute that steps manually, and Worksoft Certify will capture those steps as part of the raw script. In our automation language, we call it as a raw script. We capture those scripts. We identify or analyze those scripts, what exactly that script means, how we can use that script. So we analyze, and then when we are analyzing, we are not analyzing only from the automation perspective. We have always with us a SAP SME who is better knowing what things need to be done. When this flow is executed, how the test data need to be handled, what kind of test data need to be provided for that. So when the script comes to us, that raw script, we start polishing. We call it as polishing part. In that polishing, as I mentioned, we add the parameters for the per field. How the test data can be handled is adding the parameterization or the record set. Then we create the test data with the help of SME. Here when we say insufficient document, that is resolved in the first step. In second step, we resolve how the data can be utilized, or unavailability of configuration owners to give us the help on the SAP flows. We resolve these two things. When the script is ready, when the script is very much automated, we know that we will start one cycle of execution, it is working fine. Then what? Whether we have to wait till the sprint completion or the last phase of sprint? No. That script can be available to the business for their own unit testing part. Whether they want to do a unit testing, yes, they can definitely check whether the scripts are ready, how the system is working based on the new enhancement, whether that entire existing part, which is the existing flow, is working. That can be done. If he or she is happy from the business side, then they can ask us, okay, put this or send this entire script in light out testing. This is kind of a new concept which we have designed. Light out testing is nothing but the entire testing, or the scripts can be executed at night or on demand. It's basically, I will use the on demand word, because based on business requirement, we will utilize those execution part. Or in live run for one of the Finnish clients, on test environment, whenever there are some changes or what they are following, they are on daily basis, they are pushing new changes in test environment in the evening or at a specific time. Once the changes are available, every night we are executing those scripts with the help of light out testing. When the light out testing start, we analyze, or it will be handled nightly. Once the entire execution, light out testing execution is done, in morning, our SME as well as the automation team will be coming into the picture. They will find out how many flows has been passed, how many flows has been failed. If there are failed, I would like to answer your question specifically when you said that how you will do and who will be analyzing. Here, what we are doing, once the steps are failed over there, our team will analyze the failing part. There might be 4 situations. One is because of the test data, the entire system is failed or the execution is failed. Second, the script, specifically the script which are running, having some issue in terms of some waiting period or some issue, or timeout session, SAP timeout session has been displayed. Because of that, it might fail. So they will analyze that. Or they will even check whether the environment issue is there. Or altogether, if it is a defect, we know that script is running fine, everything is fine, but their system is behaving not as expected, or the entire base execution is not running as per expected. So they will log a defect. How they will log? They don't have to do manual work. As I mentioned, we are reducing the manual workload. This is where we are reducing. We are just clicking right, one click, we are on, or using one click, we are sending the entire test case, failed test case to Jira, showing that it is failed because of so and so reason. All steps will be copied with the help of the API message, and it will directly go into the defect system. No need to be enter all or attach all the screenshot or test data. It will automatically go. But over there, why? Then the question, why our SME or the automation tester will be there? To assign to specific resource, they will be there. Once the defect is fixed, again, the same process will start on the next day or on demand, whether it will be executed at same time or it will be executed nightly on daily basis. Once the entire execution is passed, the steps will be sent it to, or the result will be sent it to the Jira, that these are the steps which are passed for so and so scenarios, and it will generate the report. Right now in Worksoft, there is no such possibility to send the result directly in Jira. They are working, and then it will be available in coming days, I don't know, in 10.2 version. That's what they are promising it. But some manual work is definitely required over here, where our resources need to generate the report just to provide the data over there, how many pass, how many fail. But to not even reduce some part in terms of how the report should be generated, we have created a supporting Excel or enabler which help them to generate the report easily and view the report in terms of. So in this, with this approach, we are able to reduce at least first four key points. Manual workload, definitely. While execution, we are using light out testing. High volume of test data, we are using our SME to help us to create the data. Configuration and availability, definitely. Our SME over there as well, who will help us to identify or identify the scenarios and help us in the scenario creation part. And insufficient document, definitely we will using configuration owners to record the raw flows. But what about the environment setup and how the environment setup will be done and how you will be optimizing the test service cost, where you will start that? Because we need to showcase to the client that we are doing the execution, but what in the execution, what optimization, because human tendency is there. If everything working smoothly, no, we need some improvement. We need something which can be showcased to the client that this is how it can be done. This is the sample flow when I said we are recording, how we are recording. I have just given a very simple flow where in SAP we are creating a standard work order, a standard order. It will be created by SME without using automation tool. He will just start that automation tool, and it will be automation tool will be minimized, and he will start scripting that, or he will start doing his own work. Once he finishes that, he has to just right click and say that we have recorded. Once the session is recorded, our team picture will come, who will start creating the scripts or polishing those scripts. These are the tasks. The automation team will start analyzing the test data, creating the or polishing the script. If it is failing somewhere, we will do that, and even adding the screen capturing part. This screen capturing part is very useful when we execute that with the help of Worksoft or with any automation tool. Basically, we have tried with Robo Framework as well this part. But when we capture the scripts, or when we execute the script and we capture the scripting, what exactly the execution snapshot we capture, what is the use of that? If everything is passing, no one is going to look at those passing status, or they will accept that it is working. But what is the use of those documents which we have created? Definitely, this over here, I would like to emphasize on one part. When there is a new resource who is onboarding in the project, over there he can, or we, with the help of this document, we can definitely reduce the some time. At least based on my best practice, we have reduced 40% of the time on the onboarding activity. We just hand over the screenshot which are captured while execution and give it to him. He will read those documents. He will understand what is the flow. He will understand how the data has been added, where it need to be added. All those step-by-step information it will capture, and it will help him to get onboarded easily. This is the sample example I have. But going back to the environment setup as well as how to reduce the or optimize the service cost. This is the environment we have set up for one of the Finnish client, where we are using Worksoft Execution Manager, and Jira. You can see right now, with the help of Worksoft, this part most of the team are doing, where we are creating the scripts with the help of automation tool, any tool, and executing on this entire server, where we are showcasing that how, or we are regularly practicing how the scripts can be executed. Here, what we have introduced the execution agent machines, which will help us not to load on the our certified database as well as the certified server. All the script will be executed based on demand, or light out testing will be done on the execution machines. These 4 machines will be used as a robot agent for us. Every night or on demand, whenever the execution starts, it will start on the execution machines, and then it will execute the scripts, and it will send the data once again in Jira if there are defects, not report. Yeah. But once again, once the entire setup is done on the cloud, we are also connecting with SAP, which is on premises, with the help of cloud environment. Also other application, non-SAP application, like I will consider SuccessFactors is also non-SAP application because it's recently added in this SAP family. But such applications, which are cloud-based applications, can be help of this entire architecture can be tested. And then once the execution is done, the report can be seen in Jira. But you will ask where we are saving the or optimizing the cost. When we started, then we have analyzed that by mistakenly or by not having that experience on how the lighthouse testing will be set up, then we in that scenario, we are utilizing those 4 machines continuously. We were not knowing that it is charging to the clients basically from the cloud provider, because cloud is charging based on your timing, how much time you have used that machine. So to reduce the cost, what we have done, we have created scripts with the help of Worksoft that whenever there is an execution needed, this 4 machine, based on our execution, it will start, and whenever the execution finish, it will automatically ramp down. Entire system will be ramped down. So here we are optimizing the cost on daily basis. And one more thing I would like to mention, for that client, what we are doing, on daily basis we are doing the execution and providing them the inputs based on yesterday's enhancements. Whatever coming in the system will be solved, and then it will give the proper results. So they know in advance that because of yesterday's new enhancements, these are the things which has been introduced. So this kind of setup we have done with the help of Worksoft and Jira. Hope the approach with the example is helpful for everyone.